Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Liz Live Monday afternoon. I need your help today because I'm using StreamYard so I can simulcast to YouTube and Facebook. So give me thumbs up if you can hear me. And be patient with me today. It's a great topic, and I want to make sure we get through everything. But please let me know if you can hear me. I'm going to make an assumption that you can hear me unless I hear otherwise. And my mic looks like it's good to go. So let's see. Show comments. Let's see. Nope, the camera off. There we go. Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you give me a thumbs up? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. Welcome to Liz Live. Happy Monday. I'm so glad that people could be here to join me on this really great topic, the topic of difficult people. And again, I want you guys to help me out and give me a thumbs up on YouTube or Facebook so that I know that I can be heard, that my microphone's working. And we're talking about difficult people today. And this is a very universal topic because all of us encounter difficult people at some point in our lives. We all encounter difficult people at work, difficult people in the family, difficult roommates, difficult people in class, difficult people, it could be your partner too. Um, we run into problems with people all the time, and let's be realistic. And what we want to do is learn how to deal with difficult people without losing our mind, because it can be quite difficult. We all know that. And there's a couple things that we do when we're dealing with difficult people, and we're going to talk about those things, and I'm going to give you guys some ideas on how to correct it. Okay. So hopefully I have to put my glasses on. Can somebody give me a thumbs up that they can hear me? I'm hoping that you can. Okay. So let's talk about difficult people. What is a difficult person? Well, a difficult person is somebody that is kind of picking on you for no reason. And we do run into these people. We run into these people at work. We run into them at school, classes. And if they're your partner, then that's probably another conversation. But for most of us, we run into them throughout work, maybe a neighbor, whatever. And at first, we might think they're nice. And, then all of a sudden they start kind of saying weird things, kind of insulting things, but you're not really sure. Difficult people, some of them are kind of in your face and some of them are very underground and very underhanded. And you really don't know, are they being difficult or am I crazy? This is what we ask ourselves a lot. Am I difficult? Are they being difficult? Am I difficult or am I just crazy? And this is how difficult people operate. They know that about you. They know that when they're attacking you and they're prodding and poking you, they know that they're bothering you because they get a reaction. And there are people out there, unfortunately, that enjoy that. So whether you're dealing with one of those like just rough, in your face, difficult people, that's one kind of difficult person that we'll talk about. And then we have the covert difficult person, which is the person that digs and pokes and throws out comments, and you try to be nice, and no matter what you do, they pull you in, you go in, you think they're being nice, and bam, they hit you with something. And this is very common, the covert difficult person. I have a lot of clients that come to me that have these kinds of relationships in the workplace a lot. And the reason they show up in the workplace a lot is because when we're talking about an office culture or a work culture, there's a little competition there, right? Not everyone is just cool and happy being in their role. and, staying in their lane. In situations where we have more than one person, they tend to get complicated. Doesn't matter where you are. It could be the dance studio, the classroom, the workplace, the home, the neighborhood, the community. We've all had experiences like this. And I know from personal experience, I've certainly experienced a lot of people like this. And difficult people are typically a little bit bullyish, and they tend to be very, very, very insecure and act very, very, very arrogant. So the whole way they carry themselves will kind of trip you up at first. And when you meet somebody, I always tell people, if you feel like you can't get a finger on who they are, or you can't get a read on them, trust that feeling. Trust it. Because most of us human beings, we can feel a certain click or connection when we're talking with people. And when we can't feel that, we walk away, gee, I really couldn't get a read on that person. Or I'm not really sure where they're coming from. Don't ignore that inner voice, because that's the voice that's going to save you every time. And difficult people love to unnerve you. They do thrive on shock value, and they do thrive on your reaction. So if you're dealing, and I'm sure everybody is probably watching this or will at some point be dealing with one of these people who just feels like they're out to get you, and no matter what you do, they move the target, they change the game around because they're trying to upset you. And it's sad that there are people that are like this, but they're out there. And I want to talk to you, the person who's listening, and give you some ways to deal with these people where you don't lose your mind. Because the first issue I see with my clients, or even myself, when I've experienced this, is it starts to take up too much space in your brain. They're always they get in there and they're always kind of on your mind. And you're always thinking, I'm going to repeat that interaction that I just had with a difficult person, and I'm going to repeat it over and over and over again. And we start overthinking it, and we can't help ourselves. And the reason that we overthink the situation and our brain keeps replaying it is because our nervous system is always trying to keep us alive. We're always trying to survive. So when we feel threatened, even if it's just an annoying person, our nervous system wants to get rid of that threat. So our brain and our nervous system work together, and they will keep going over this to try to get an answer, because your nervous system thinks, if I have an answer, I can stop this. And this is where we all get tripped up with difficult people. We wind up absorbing a lot of it. We take it in first, and we think, either I'm going crazy or this just must be me. Because they'll be so nice to other people, but they're going to target you. They're going to target you not because you're you. They're going to target you because you trigger them. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but there's something about you that triggers other people's insecurities. And that's not your fault, and it's not your problem. It's their fault, and it's their problem to deal with. And, we all get in situations like this, but it can really take over your mind. And so what I do with clients in these situations is, first, I like to get the whole layout. Who is this person that's being difficult, or that's putting you down all the time, or one-upping you, or challenging you at work, or, ignoring you at home, or whatever the situation is. And let me get the layout of the land. Who else is there? What might be, motivating this person to feel so triggered around you? And usually deep down inside, there's something about you that when this person looks at you, they get triggered because you have something they don't, that they want. So it comes a little bit from jealousy, and it also comes from the feeling of threatening. And this is why it happens in the workplace so much, because A lot of times in the workplace, people are vying for the biggest positions, the bigger jobs, more responsibility, making more money. So it can get very cutthroat in those situations. Thankfully, I work on my own, but starting my career, I worked in a newsroom and it was really cutthroat and a lot of tough personalities. And I could go on and on. But the workplace is a big deal because everyone's trying to move up, get somewhere. Very few people just want to stay put. And so people think, uh-oh, she might be more talented than me, or he might pass me up for the next promotion. So I can't help myself but to try to put them down and knock them down a notch. And it's not because there's something wrong with the person who's triggering them. The responsibility of that behavior is on the person who's chasing you or digging on you or hyper focusing on you. And it does feel like you're going crazy at first because you think, why is this person so hyper focused on me? There's never going to be a good answer to that. And where most of us get really stuck is we get stuck trying to analyze and fix that person. So they'll call me, my clients will call me, the therapist, oh my God, I have to talk to you about Susie Q at work and what she's doing to me. Or, oh my God, I'm having trouble with my neighbor, or, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, it's family systems, work systems, it could be anything. And how do I deal with this person? And I've seen people do it. In fact, I left a place of business once because I went to somewhere for service and the person who was giving me the service kept picking on this other person at the same place. And I left because I didn't like it. I don't want to see someone hurting someone else or putting someone else down. So, and I couldn't get involved in that, even though I tried standing up for this person. It gets old after a while. And I don't want to spend my money where that's going on, right? So imagine if you have to deal with it at work every day or in your own home. I mean, it could be really, really maddening. And it really can be difficult for people, nice people, empathetic people, caring people, because we always think it's us. And we always make a million excuses for why that person is behaving in that way. Oh, well, they had a hard upbringing. Oh, he's going through divorce. Oh, he's just really insecure. Oh, they had a tough childhood. You know what? No, I don't buy that anymore. And I'm super compassionate and understanding. But I'm sure every one of us watching this has had hard times, has been going through difficulties in life, have been under a lot of pressure, financial strain, relationship strain, and that doesn't give us a right to take it out on other people and to be mean. And these people, I don't know what to call them, difficult people or, annoying people or people who just can't help themselves. They have no impulse control, right? They just blurt out something to you as soon as they feel the threat. And like I said, we could sit here and analyze their personality, why they're threatened by you. But the sad or maybe the good reality is you're never going to know. You really aren't. Jealousy, I think, is an ugly human emotion that runs very high for these people. And when they see something that they want to be but feel that they aren't, they might come after you and start attacking you to make themselves feel better. And when it's done in a very outwardly way, it's a little bit easier to deal with because everybody sees it. You don't feel as much like, am I going crazy here? Other people witness it, they see it. And because the person might be boisterous or loud, you might feel a little more comfortable ultimately standing up to them or, reporting them to your boss or saying, hey, so-and-so has been very rude. And, hopefully there's something you can do in the workplace. But a lot of times it's up to us to take our power back. And so these difficult people, as much as it sucks to have to deal with them, often teach us some of our biggest lessons in life. They will move us and push us out of our comfort zone so that we look inside of us to understand why this person is bothering us so much. And 9 times out of 10 is we give our power away to this type of person, because most of us don't want to deal with that kind of behavior. We just don't. We don't want to deal with it. We want to come in, do our job, and leave. But as I've seen over the years from my clients, these difficult people are lurking all over the place, and they get inside your head and they get inside your heart, and you have to find a way to deal with it. So my first suggestion is, after we identify the landscape of where this is happening and who this person is, I like to keep a journal about it. Because when you keep a little journal about it, like every time this person tries to bully you or insult you or whatever, start keeping a journal. And I've done this before. This is very interesting. And what you'll see is a pattern. People run on patterns. They're very predictable that way. Now, human behavior is ultimately unpredictable, but generally speaking, people run on patterns of behavior, patterns of thinking, patterns of thought. So when you start jotting down just a quick note, oh, so-and-so said this to me today, said that to me, and make sure you also keep a journal for your own safety if it's at work, if you ever have to use it. And when you really start to step back and look at the time these people waste and the things that they say, it's astounding. And you can see the pattern. Oh, every time I show up, and I pass their desk, they do this. Every time I speak about this, they say that. And you'll start to see a pattern. And when you see the pattern, then you can start to take control back of the pattern. And you can say, okay, every time I talk about this, or every time I walk this way, or every time I'm wearing this, or I'm doing this, or I'm saying this person has to interfere or say something rude or try to hurt my feelings. And you start to notice the pattern. And then we, as the sort of victim of this, we have to figure out, how are we going to disconnect from this person and what they're doing? Because we can't stop them, probably, and we can't change them. And we don't want to give them too much time and space in our heads than they're already getting because they're upsetting us. Okay, so the shift I want you to make is shift from, this person is bothering me, this person is mean to me, this person is driving me crazy, to, this person's behavior has nothing to do with me. It is a reflection of their inner world. I'm going to say that again. When difficult people are causing trouble in your life, or trying to cause trouble in your life, remember that their bad behavior has nothing to do with you. It is a reflection of their own inner world and their own inner struggles. And this is a place you must get. You have to get here, and you have to understand that you are not responsible for how other people act or treat you. Nobody is. Nothing is, ultimately. Yes, we can have compassion, and sure, we make allowances and excuses, and we move the bar for people we love. But if something is really upsetting us, we've given our power away. And so what I want to do today is help you identify where you're giving your power away, to whom, and how we're going to help you make that shift from, oh my God, I don't know why this person, what I'm doing to make this person, dislike me so much or whatever, to, that behavior has nothing to do with me. It's simply a reflection of the other person's struggles and the other person's inner world. Think about this. You can only act out what you have inside of you. Okay? So if you, for example, take someone who's very mean and grumpy all the time, this is an obvious example. If someone's mean and grumpy all the time, they're miserable, right? We all kind of know that. So if they're spewing mean things out to people, or saying rude things in public, or whatever they're doing, they're rude to wait staff or rude to clerks or whatever. We've all seen these people. It's not because the waiter or the waitress was bad. It's not because the clerk did something wrong. It's because this person cannot contain their own behavior. They just can't do it. So their inner struggle is projected out onto the world, onto everyone else. And these people will rarely take responsibility, which makes it even more difficult to be on the other side of it. So they're not going to own it. They're not going to take responsibility for it. They're going to deflect if they're confronted. So talking to them is kind of a waste of time, except in one exception. So you have to be the one to say, okay, I'm going to make that shift. Like Elizabeth said, I'm not going to make it about me or my fault. I'm going to say, wow, what a compliment that this person is so triggered by me. I must have something that's so wonderful that they just can't help themselves. And I understand that their behavior and their thoughts are a reflection of their inner world, not me. And that is the truth. We are just mirrors for each other. That's all we are. We show up constantly in reflection of each other. And that's what we kind of are here for. So when somebody's really got you, turn the mirror back on you and say, where am I giving my power away? Why am I allowing this person to consume so much of my energy and so much of my well-being? And this is where growth happens. This is where change happens. This is where we can start to identify our own patterns. And this isn't easy work, guys. It's really challenging. I've had so many clients over the years have situations like these. And we have to look deep inside and say, okay, why am I being so, why is this person, upsetting me so much? Where am I giving my power away? And usually, if we're getting that upset about something, somewhere we're giving our power away. And I'm going to explain what I mean. So, if we're being very hurt and sort of dragged around by another person's behavior, we are, even though there's no excuse for it, we are allowing ourselves to get emotionally entangled in what they do. And when you become more and more confident in yourself, these people are like flies. They're like fleas you could just smash. They're insignificant and they're nothing. But when they're taking up a big part of your life and your headspace, we have to think about why. Did they make you feel like, oh, I thought everybody's supposed to like me. I don't like not being liked. I have to get along with everybody, or I feel bad about myself. I have to find some kind of answer. I have to fix this person. I have to fix their behavior. We can't, and we're going to get stuck because we can't do that. We cannot fix someone else's behavior, and we cannot fix or change personalities. But what we can control is us. And we've all heard that's kind of cliche at this point a million times, but it's the truth. So we're going to use this person to reflect back to ourselves to say, okay, where am I giving my power away? How am I giving my power away to this person? And that's where the healing begins. And usually, if you come to therapy, with me, we will really look into this and we'll journal about it. We're going to see, try to learn their patterns, but not because we want to help them, because we want to help you. We want to help you get the information you need about the situation so you can step away from it. And you can no longer give your power away to this person. And you get to the point where you start week by week by week getting healthier and healthier and healthier and less emotionally entangled with them. So each time that you look into this and you're asking about where you're giving your power away, you're also going to find some interesting information about yourself. It's not a fun way to learn, but this is the way of the world, right? We learn through contrast. And we start taking note and changing our behavior, not expecting them to change. And we all get stuck on that. We all want to analyze and we want to understand, and we can do that. But after a while, it gets old because it doesn't help the solution. And talking about what they did and talking about what they're doing to you keeps it more and more alive. So of course you should share this with your therapist, with me, I hope, with a close family member. But the more you let it upset you and the more you talk about it, the bigger the problem becomes. When you pull your energy off of it and you pull back, then it's going to shrink, right? What you put your attention on grows. When you take your attention off something, it minimizes it. And they can stay and kick and scream and, you know, be, I don't know, triggered by you, but that's not your problem. That's their problem. You don't have to change anything about you to make them happy. And this is a tricky thing to learn. It's hard to understand. It's hard to understand this. I think we're taught to think that, we're supposed to resolve and fix. But when people get to a point where they're really disrespectful and they're really underhanded and covert, or just, no matter how much talking you do, the behavior continues, that they don't care. They can't help themselves. So a lot of the talking and the sitting down and the confrontation we want to do with them, oftentimes a waste of time and energy. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you can sit down and talk, but I would say 9 times out of 10, somebody who's acting like this is not self-aware. So they're not going to understand. They're not going to admit what they're doing. They're not going to, oh yeah, you're right. I have been, trying to pick on you or make your life miserable. Oh yeah, I am really jealous of you, or I am really triggered by you. You're right. I'm sorry. Like, that doesn't happen. So we have to keep our expectations real and keep very self-focused. Now, from an energetic standpoint, because most of you know I'm an energy healer as well. From an energetic standpoint, what these people do is they are emotional vampires. And we've all heard that term before. And they're energy takers. And they're often like very low vibration people, like kind of depressive people or angry people, sneaky kind of people. And they see your lights, and without even knowing it, that's what they want to destroy. They want to destroy your lights, because the more light you are, the more it reveals bad. And so unfortunately, it becomes almost like an energetic battle that you don't want to get into, because you're losing all of your emotional energy by putting time and energy into it. So if you think about it on an energetic level, these people are actually trying to take and drain your energy. And you can feel it. When you come home from a day of work or interaction with these people, it can be very exhausting. And that's what we want to stop. That's what we don't want to allow. We want to protect our own emotions, protect our own energy, and protect the amount of time we're spending on this subject, even though I know it can be so aggravating. It can be so aggravating. So to recap, difficult people, we want to journal, and we want to try to just lightly, not every move, but we want to journal for our own sake so that we can see the pattern, identify the pattern, and we can use that information to inform how we're going to change our behavior to kind of take our power back and take our attention off of this person. So it's a little bit of avoidance, which isn't always bad. And, how can I remove this person from my life? Do I need to stop talking to this person? Do I need to have a talk with this person? What's the best situation? And 9 times out of 10 with these kind of people, you're better off not talking about it, because they're never going to own up to anything. So the change has to be within you. So you have to go deep inside and ask yourself, why am I giving so much of my power away to this person? And oftentimes it's because we have a desire to be liked. We have a desire to be loved. And when we think that someone doesn't like us, especially if we're generally a liked person, it can be very upsetting and irritating to us. So when we're taking our power back from them, we're saying, you know what? I don't care if they like me or not. It's irrelevant. And it is irrelevant. And I'm going to take my emotion and my energy off of thinking about this person and focus it back on me and learn how to live with someone not liking me or not feel obligated to be nice to this person when they're not treating you nicely. You know, all the things that go into dealing with difficult people. And sometimes we will have to confront them. Sometimes we will have to say enough. They're never going to admit it. They're not going to admit it. They're going to insist that you're making it up, and they're going to insist that you're crazy, which was why I like people to keep a journal. So you have your own evidence right there. And you can come to me to talk about it, obviously, but you want to figure out, why am I giving my power away to this situation? What can I do differently so that this person is out of my world? And this is challenging when you work with them every day, or you live next door to them, or you live with them, or you see them at all your holidays, or whatever the situation is. This is not easy work. It's not easy work, which is why I wanted to talk about it, because I've nailed this down pretty well after so much experience being alive. We all deal with these things. And I feel that I'm very helpful to people going through this. And oftentimes, the kinder and the nicer and the brighter star you are, the more the darkness likes to come after you to try to steal your light. And it's just a basic human cycle, right? Dark wants light. Light wants more light. So when you're a very light and bright person, darkness wants to it doesn't even understand, but it wants to capture you. It wants to steal your light. And you have to protect your light and protect your energy and protect your space. And of course, in extreme circumstances, sometimes we have to report them, and that goes into certain legal issues. But I would say for most of the time, this is more of an annoyance or a bully situation, an emotional bully, than it is, crossing that legal line. But of course, if you feel this person is crossing a legal line, by all means, consult an attorney. But I think the older I get, the more I see how much time we waste on people who aren't worthy of us. And the more we try to be liked, and the more we try to please, oftentimes the more we get taken advantage by these type of people, because they know that it's going to take a lot to push us over the edge. They know it, they sense it, and that's precisely why they're coming after you in particular. So knowing that, you can use this as an example to look inside yourself and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to take my power back. I don't need them to like me. And you know what? I don't care what they say about me. I don't care what they think. Go ahead. And there's some very deep belief systems that we can uncover in ourselves when we're dealing with this kind of person. And it can be a great learning experience. Not fun, but a great learning experience. And I can say, honestly, some of the most difficult people I've ever had in my life have taught me the greatest lessons, not because they meant to, but because I had to learn how to survive this person, or learn how to let go of this person, or take my power back from this person. And these situations can go quite deep if you're willing to look into them. And I hope that you do, because it really will help you grow. And then you can kind of look at this person and just kind of say, okay, screw you. I figured it out. Because it's always us. Yes, it's them. Yes, it's them antagonizing and starting it. But we have the boundary with ourselves of what we will and will not put up with. So these kind of difficult people in difficult circumstances really stop us in our tracks, and they force us to look in the mirror, which I love, because I think that's what we do for each other being alive on this planet. And I think the older we get and the more we realize how precious life is, the less time we want to spend on this. And, I've worked with some clients where, this kind of situation like really, really caused a lot of damage emotionally for them. The nicer the people that I work with, the more these kinds of these situations are kind of damaging, because nice people don't get it. They don't understand why people behave like this. And frankly, I'm one of those people. I've had trouble with people many times for no reason at all. And they know who they can go after. They sense it, they feel it. They look for the nice ones. And so you have to stand up. If you're watching this, you have to stand up and learn how to take your power back. So before we wrap up, I want to talk a minute about taking our power back. And by the way, hello to Facebook and hello to Instagram. It's very exciting because I'm doing a simulcast today. God knows if my audio is working or what. I hope it is. If not, I'll do a redo tomorrow, but hopefully this is coming through and people can hear me well and are getting information about this. So if you're just tuning in, quick recap, we're talking about how to deal with difficult people. We run into difficult people everywhere. We could run into them just doing a daily errand. We could run into them in the workplace, our communities, our neighbors, groups you're in, your home, family, extended family. The list goes on and on. Wherever you frequent and there's multiple people, personalities will clash. And difficult people, they thrive on upsetting other people, sadly. They thrive on getting a reaction. They thrive on shocking you. They thrive on destabilizing you. As sad as it is, these people exist. And when they cross our path, it can be very upsetting and very unnerving, and it can take up a lot of our emotional energy. We overthink it, we hyperfixate on it, we try to get along with this person, we try to be nice, we try to do this, we try to do that, and nothing works. So what we're talking about today is remembering that we can't fix other people's personalities. Nobody can do that. Nobody, not even the best therapists. It's impossible. So when we run into these people throughout our lives, which we most definitely will if we haven't already, my first recommendation is to keep a journal, just like, incident 1, incident 2, incident 3, if you want to add the date. And when you start to read back after a week or two, you're going to see a pattern. Oh, I see this person is always triggered by this or by that. You'll see it. And then once you get the pattern, then you start looking inward and say, okay, why am I continuing to engage in this? Or what am I doing or not doing to remove this person from my life? What do I need to do? What's keeping me hanging on? These relationships can become very, very toxic. And so we have to be the one to stand up and say, I'm taking my power back. This person does not run my life. And that is a very internal shift. And that requires a lot of work in therapy on our part to get to that place where we can kind of shake off these people. And you can get there. You have to really learn how to be very confident in yourself and be comfortable with other people maybe not liking you or saying mean things about you that aren't true. You just have to go, I don't care. I don't care. And that takes a minute to get there. And taking our power back is just that. It's saying that there's no way everyone's going to like me, but I like me. I've tried to get along with this person. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to work. So I remove myself. When I see this person and when they start with me, I'm going to give them this much access to zero access. Short answers, yep, and just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Let them get upset. Let them talk about it. Doesn't matter, because they'll go from you to the next person. People don't really change their spots much. So when you take your power back, you understand that and you feel comfortable with yourself, so much so that these kind of difficult people, they shrink and shrink and shrink into a little flea, into nothing. And eventually they're not on your radar anymore. And that takes some time and some work. So if you're dealing with difficult people, give me a call. I've worked with these types of situations so much as a therapist and also in my own personal life. I love helping people regain their self-confidence through these kinds of situations and kind of walking away victorious with themselves and understanding that people only can take from us what we give. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the truth. And we want to have peace in our lives. And sometimes we need some advice on how to get through these intricate situations, sometimes with people who may play very important roles in our lives. But there is help. And if this is your first time watching, I am Liz Statlander, mental health counselor, marriage and family therapist, and grief specialist. I have been counseling for over 18 years, Miami-based, and my practice is virtual. So I specialize in intensive work. So people who come to see me, rather than coming once every few weeks or once a week, we jump in and we do 6 to 12 weeks of intense therapy sessions, and we get you in and out really fast, but we make really amazing life-altering changes, helping you reconstruct your identity after loss, helping you get over grief, helping you with addiction. I offer a lot of wonderful services. I also have a lot of free material on my YouTube channel. It's free to anybody, on my Facebook page, my Instagram. Make sure that you follow me on social media, you like and subscribe to this video, and follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, because I put out great stuff every day. Every Monday, I go live at 3 o'clock and we talk about some really hard-hitting mental health subjects. And today I just felt like I haven't talked about this subject in a very long time. And, most of my shows lately have been focusing on grief and recovering from depression and reconstructing your identity. And I thought, let's do a relationship one, because I love talking about relationships because they're so interesting, complicated, and we all get a little stymied in our relationships at times. So please feel free to write me with any questions. Please share this video with someone you love, because we can always help other people by sharing free advice with them. It's so important. And I will see you guys here. Well, I'll see you guys every day. I'm making a commitment to be on social media every day. But for my long live format, I will see you next Monday. And if I happen to go live another time this week, which I might on YouTube, I will let everybody know. Thank you for watching. Have a great week, everybody.